correct? Excellent. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting of the Mashpee School Committee and Advisory, or Student Advisory Committee meeting for April 16th, 2015 to order. It is 5:36. Do we,
Who's taking notes?
yeah, I was going to say, do we have any
Sherry
more?
is going to
Sherry's
take
gonna record.
minutes off the recording.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Sherry will record.
All set.
Okay, so
Beautiful.
we'll just make sure we help her out a little bit. All right. First item of business is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Do I have to call my meeting to order?
You do. So
We'll stand while you do
we'll
it.
stand.
I call the Student Advisory Committee meeting of April 16th, 2025 meeting to order.
That's it. All right. Pledge allegiance. Eve, if you want to start. Go ahead, start.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Mashpee Public Schools recognize and honor the many generations of Wampanoag people who have lived and sustained in this territory for more than 10,000 years. The school committee wants to recognize that we have one member, Dan Rodriguez, is going to be zooming into the meeting tonight. But we do have a quorum present. The next item is the agenda. To ratify the agenda that's in front of you, I believe.
Just one thing, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I did get a late message from the Tribal Education Department. They had a conference or something in DC, and they do not have someone who can make it here tonight.
Okay,
Okay.
so item 6.
They send their apologies.
I believe we're going to be asked to review a personal service contract tonight in regard to the special education director, is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, so I would like to add that to the agenda. And I don't see.
It is on there. It's at the, under new business at the end, but you can definitely move it up if you'd like.
Where is it, David? I'm sorry.
I'm
I
missing
don't think
that.
it's
Oh,
on
you know
you.
what? It's not on the one in front of you. It's on the one that got posted, because these were printed a week and a half ago. But I put it under new business, so it is on the agenda that's posted.
Okay, because on the agenda that got posted, we also have an executive session.
Right.
It's not on the agenda that is here. So
These were
can
printed
you
before.
print off some?
If you don't
Yep.
mind. Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize for that.
Do you have the updated agenda with you? The one that got posted? Oh, thank you.
All right. So in the updated agenda that got posted, there is an executive session that was for the purposes of discussing union contracts. I would like to also amend that to add to discuss non-union contracts also. And the intent for both was to come back to public session after the executive session, so that would not change. So we would just be adding an additional purpose for the executive session.
So this is the agenda here that was posted.
Okay.
And get rid of that, come on. And if we go down
Oh,
to
wait,
new
right there.
business.
Yeah, the executive session.
Maybe I put it under superintendent's report.
Yep, right there. Number 1, approval of
Yeah,
appointment.
right, number 1 right here.
Okay.
And the little star on it for vote, approval of appointment of contracted director of special education.
So I would suggest that we move that down to after the executive session then.
Okay. Okay.
Any other changes or amendments?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we ratify the agenda with the changes noted for April 16th, 2025.
Second.
Motion by Kelly to approve the amended agenda, second by Kathy. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Kathy?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Dan?
Yeah.
And I vote yes also. So, 4 in favor. All right. Next item is public comment. Is anyone here for public comment? Don't all raise your hands at once. Seeing no one volunteering, we'll move on. Item number 4, Mashpee Middle High School presentation, the John and Abigail Adams Scholarship recipients. In your packet, there is a long list. I know I think we have a few people that are here, but I will turn it over to Principal Brady.
Just to use, to be able to use the mic, just grab that. Just take, just use the mic itself. Just use the mic.
She's standing up, she can dance.
She can dance too.
I have a theater background. She's singing karaoke for us. So I am super excited to present. We had 31 students at Mashpee Middle High School this year receive the John and Abigail Adams Scholarship. These are seniors. They obviously took MCAS as sophomores, and they scored very high on MCAS. Usually, it used to be like advanced in one area and then proficient or passing in the other areas. Now, after the pandemic, it's kind of like the highest scoring students in the school, and they also have to fall within the top 25% of their senior class. So the fact that we have 31 recipients is incredibly impressive. Many of the people on this list, I have a whole group of students on the tennis team who couldn't be here tonight because they have a meet and they're not happy that they couldn't be here. But so I did want to say that a lot of the reason why a lot of the students couldn't come is for good reason. They are either participating in athletics or they have jobs or things like that. So I do want to read the names of all 31 students, and we do have 2 students here to come up and be acknowledged as well. So first I'm going to read the names of the 31 students. So John and Abigail Adams Scholarship recipients, class of 2025. We have Brandon Alves, Rachel Blackburn, Catherine Birchfield, Grace Dion, Emily Doolin, Rachel Fish, Camden Frazier, Melania Fry, Alexander Fry, Marielle Henley, Eamon Iqbal, Cameron Katz, Luke Klopfer, Lindsay Liu, Charles Lyons, Madison Morrow, Brian Neves, Brody Newbury, Cordelia Oakley Robbins, Noah Pinero, Vincent Panetti, Addison Rebello, Hannah Rogers, Nicholas Skoulos, Aisha Shafi, Paige Sponsky, Max Smith, Paul Squarcia, Ella I can never say her last name. Veritimos, I can never say it. Logan Wills and Addison Wood. So congratulations to those 31 Mashpee Middle High School seniors for being awarded the John and Abigail Adams Scholarship. And tonight here to accept the acknowledgement, we have Camden Frazier and we have Brody Newbury. Love to take a picture with you guys, if that's all right. All right, do you want to take it with,
Sure.
you know, everybody? I might have to come up there with you, because I'm.
Come back to the table.
There you go.
Back here. So that, and then.
The short people can.
Well done, you guys. Kelly, not for nothing, but you look a little shorter in that back
Shoot, I'm moving. Hold on, Bonnie, I'm coming up there with you. Hold on. All right. There we go, smart. Brilliant.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Super proud of you.
Congratulations,
gentlemen.
Congratulations.
You gave me a complex. Oh, my God. That's funny, because I look like that with my sixth-grade basketball players, too.
Can I just ask a quick question before you guys head out? Have you decided, have you committed anywhere yet? I see a URI
I was just going to
sweatshirt.
say that. I see you all right.
All right.
Nice. Congratulations. Have fun.
Four Cs? Excellent.
There you go. Good job.
Congrats to both of you.
Great choices.
That's amazing.
Excellent.
Good job,
It
guys.
is. So congratulations to you.
Just want to congratulate each and every one of the individuals who received that award because it's not easy. They have to be the top 25%, and it just goes to show what a great organization we have behind them and what great parents we have supporting them too. So thank you to everyone and congratulations. All right. Next item is the approval of the minutes. We have January 29th in your packet.
And just so the Student Advisory Committee is aware, this is a joint meeting, so you can comment on anything. Like, don't feel like you're just here watching, like you are able to participate in the discussion. I just want to clarify that.
If you want a microphone, we'll share.
Definitely.
I move approval.
So I have a motion by Kathy.
I'll
Do I have a
second.
Second by Kelly. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, how do you vote? Kathy?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So it's approved unanimously. Next one is the meet from the March 19th, 2025 meeting. Are there any edits or comments?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Kathy, second by Kelly. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, how do you vote? Yes?
Yes.
Kathy? Kelly?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so it's unanimous. All right, thank you. Moving on, item number 7, Student Advisory Committee. We had a share out in regard to the meeting from 3:25, which I don't believe happened.
It did.
Did it? Okay. So,
Yeah. Okay.
oh, that's your meeting, yes.
Yes, that was one. Yeah, so I can kick that off. So yeah, we went and we met on March 25th with the Quashnet Student Council meeting. They're so young. And they just kind of looked at me like, what are you talking about? But so I introduced myself. I was able to tell them what I did. It was only you two there, Mario and Paige. Oh no, was it you there, Tess? Yeah. Mario and Paige had stuff with tennis, so they were not able to go. We'll just go down the list. Yeah, so I was explaining to them what the name change would mean. They struggled a little bit to figure out what I was talking about, I think because I was using words they don't really hear much. But, yeah, so I'm trying to go down the list. I don't know what discussion on number of student fundraising activities is. I'll touch on the name change at the end, but.
So item number 2 was really to get feedback from the students in regard to the number of fundraising activities that are taking place at each of the schools. Is it too many, not enough, about right?
I mean, I'll speak for the senior class in a way of, I think they've tried to do a lot of fundraising things. The issue is they come up with ideas and they don't always get executed. Because a lot of times it's different approvals that are needed and sometimes the approvals just don't work out or we run out of time. So it really depends on the different classes. You two are both on your student councils for your grades, so do you want to talk about that at all?
Okay, so for my class, I'm vice president, and we're doing a lot of fundraising, like parking, volunteering, and we get money for that. But it's like there's a lot of lack of participation among the class, and we're not really sure why, because we told all of them that it's going to be like benefiting them in the future. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. There's not much participation. It's like the same group of people sometimes, and it just kind of makes it that much more difficult to fundraise.
Yeah, are you guys both juniors or sophomores?
I'm a junior.
I'm a freshman.
Okay.
So for the class of 2028, we don't really have many members in our student government. It's really just the executive board and then I think 3 other members. So it's very small, so there isn't much participation like in our grade for like fundraising. I do know, however, in some of the clubs that I participate in, we do like some more fundraising events to raise money. Like I know Red Cross does some fundraising, but overall, like at least for like our class, like we haven't really executed much fundraising yet.
Yeah.
Thanks, okay. That was kind of what I was going to ask. Like, do you find that the clubs compete? Like, with so many clubs in our school, which is great, and I'm glad we are able to offer something for everyone, but I feel like every day there's like a fundraiser for something. Do you feel that's competing with the class fundraisers? I mean, class fundraisers are for your senior week, your, different things are you're fundraising for different things. I guess, do you feel that there's so many going on that you're not able to kind of focus your efforts, and that's why you're seeing not as many people participate, because they're asked to fundraise for their class, fundraise for their team, fundraise for their club? Like, do you, as students, do you feel that, or is that just a perception from the outside?
I feel like there's definitely different clubs do different. More clubs are more involved in fundraising. Some clubs don't really need to fundraise. It's just some clubs don't need the money to pay for their materials. Red Cross does a lot of fundraising because they need something to pay for their materials. I think also, like you were saying, they don't really know what to do. And part of the issue is that for 7th and 8th grade, their student councils are joined together and they have like their set 5 things they do every year. And so when the 8th graders transfer into 9th grade, they start at 0 and they have to create everything on their own. So there's not really anything that leads them up to that, which I think there probably could be a better system. I know Ms. Campbell and Ms. Desley do a really good job with the middle schoolers, but when the kids get into high school, they're kind of just like, oh, now we have to figure out everything else. So
Would you say, though, that the class advisor, I mean, because that sounds like a class advisor kind
Yeah, I
of
was
job,
gonna say
like
the
that's what
same
your
thing.
class advisor should be helping with? Like, do you feel, that I think that's what you're getting at, Eve? I guess, again, my concern is, regardless of their knowledge level, do you feel like there's just too many, or do you feel like it's enough? Do you feel like everybody's getting a fair shake at the stick, or do you feel like one club might be monopolizing? I guess that's where I'm trying to figure out what your opinion on that is.
do you want to talk, Kira?
Kara looks like she wants to talk.
No, I can see it in her face.
I know that the class of 2027 is actually doing a lot of fundraising to raise money for their Universal trip. So I know that there's been some conflicts between the classes with getting fundraising for certain events. I know for Beetlejuice there was only specific nights that everyone wanted to fundraise, but it seemed like class of 2027 took over for some of that, which I understand because they planned out the money that they're working towards. But I feel like we need more of an equal share of the fundraising events, especially for the classes where they're helping raise money for their class, but it's not necessarily like correlated with the event that they're raising money with. So I feel like we could definitely like focus some efforts on that as well.
You took the words out of my mouth.
And I honestly think that was one of the concerns when the class of 2027 came in and was talking about the fundraising, was them monopolizing everything to raise that money so the kids could go and taking it from the other classes. Now, not that I want them not to fundraise, but they can't monopolize the whole, all of you guys need to have the same opportunities in the same thing, so.
And I know there was a conflict, I think it was last February, and I will say the class of 2027 is very driven, like, I respect that. Wherein we were doing, the class of 2025 wanted to do a fundraiser out of the boosters, it was Super Bowl squares, and the class of 2027 was also doing a fundraiser in the month of February, and so it ended up being that our advisor talked to Ms. Frazier and was like, hey, can you move yours? And I think they did end up moving theirs because theirs wasn't centered around February.
Mhm.
So sometimes like little discussions are the way to
Right.
fix something. So,
Okay.
but
And it might be just as simple as the class advisors having conversations with each other.
yeah.
I want to focus on a comment you made in regard to the fact that it seems that these same individuals are doing the fundraising all the time, that you don't have wide participation within your class. How do you think, what would help improve participation so that everyone feels comfortable, everyone feels that they can participate and can make a difference?
Yeah, I know that we actually started like a joint student council with all of the grades that you can choose to like participate in. Originally, it was with like the class presidents. I've been attending those meetings, but it hasn't been very like widespread between like the classes. It was really only like for like certain events that people would come, but we'd like, right now I know we're working on like an anti-vaping campaign, which has like brought some like unity between like all of like the class officers, but I feel like if we could make that program more widespread and have some of the 7th and 8th graders be a part of it, I feel like that could help to reason with like the fundraising and each of the classes like initiatives in student government.
Do you think that there is some impediment that is stopping people from participating or discouraging their participation?
I don't think it's like spoken on enough. Like people don't really know that student government is like a thing that they can be involved in, especially with like the joint class one. Because I hadn't heard about it until this year. So I feel like that could be like an impediment with that.
Okay. Dan, do you have a question?
I have a question, comment. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right, so actually, one of the things that was interesting to me about the whole fundraising piece, and John, to your point about who participates and who does not, is, what are the other barriers and factors that, live in each of our students' settings that may not make it capable or possible for them to fundraise or be a part of that relationship. I think of probably after work, after school, work, family dynamics, et cetera. So I don't know if there's a way that we link our data around our obviously higher need families in the community and what that looks like for opportunities moving forward. But just trying to kind of share the data with what we're doing with, what you guys are experiencing with friends. And then this is just a complete aside, but whatever you guys are doing with the anti-vape, I'd be really interested in that. There's a lot going on across the board around that, some really cool new models to help support some of that stuff, which I would love to support what is necessary.
All right.
Oh, I just wanted to add that as a class advisor for Tessa's class, we do regularly meet together to kind of brainstorm so that we're not kind of stepping on each other's toes, so to speak. Some things like the Barnstable County Fair parking, there are a lot of opportunities for different classes and groups to do. So I just wanted to throw that in there too.
As the class advisors, do you then talk to club advisors as well? Or is it just the class advisors in that meeting?
That would be just the class advisors.
And I know there are, so different things, like the Falmouth Road Race, the National Honor Society is hugely involved in that, as Mr. Brody is the volunteer coordinator for the Falmouth Road Race. I know some of the clubs also help with the Falmouth Road Race, some of the sports teams help with the Falmouth Road Race, so that's like a big thing. The Barnstable County Fair, that's a big thing, so there's like different things where a bunch of groups will do them. And there's also historically been, I think we talked about this around last year in one of the school committee meetings, historically, it's like the same 50 kids that do all of the groups, and I don't know why, I don't remember if we ever figured out why it is that way, but it's always just been the same kids doing the same crew, and we're trying to figure out how to make it more of a widespread, so like everyone's doing something, but I think also a lot of kids are like, oh, I have sports, I have sports, I have sports. So that can kind of sometimes conflict depending on what time you practice. So, but.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda there, a share out in regard to Beetlejuice, the talent show, cabaret night.
Yeah, so Beetlejuice went really well. That feels like forever ago. People are like, how are you enjoying, like, do you miss it? And I'm like, how long ago was that? It was like 3 weeks ago. It was good. We had a really good turnout. We had probably 200 people easily each night, if that, 150, 200. And it's definitely really nice to see coming from, I saw the theater program before COVID, where it was big, and then COVID basically killed it all. And then coming back from COVID it was really slow, really slow, really slow. The first show we had back from COVID, there were like 12 people in the audience because you could only have 2 people per family, per actor. And so it's really nice to see a bunch of people coming out because it was people I also didn't know. So it wasn't just like the family of the actors. It was other people who also wanted to come see it. So it was a really fun experience.
Can I just give a shout out to, I heard that the Quashnet School did some real good publicity, or you guys did some good publicity, because there was a very big turnout of Quashnet families at Beetlejuice, so thank you for the publicity. It was, as a parent of a theater student, I was very happy to see those seats filled personally.
It's Miley deserves the credit.
All right.
I was in it, we pushed it, and not feeling our morning announcement a good time for me to.
Well, it worked. Whatever she did, it worked.
Good house, so give her the credit.
Thank you, Ms. Miley.
And the talent show, were either of you at that?
I was at the talent show.
You want to talk about the talent show? I was neither at the talent show or the cabaret night.
Yeah, so I actually helped run the spotlight for that show, which was like interesting. I was like figuring that out. It was a lot of fun. Like, so many students like participated in the talent show, and it was like nice to see them like go up there and like have the confidence to do that. I know like not many people like besides like the families like showed up. I think it was just like a conflict. I think it was like in the middle of the week or something, like
Yeah, it was like a Wednesday.
there wasn't much like publicity around it, but overall the people who did like participate in it, it was like a lot of fun to watch, and I thought it went really well.
I heard Chef put on an
I was
amazing
just going to say,
performance.
I heard that Chef Foley did one heck of a job.
I was not there, and when I was told about it, I was so sad I missed it.
It was interesting, to say the least.
And then the cabaret night, I think, also went pretty well. I was not there for that. But from what I heard, it went well. It was something different. It looked like it was kind of the talent show, but a different type of it. So, and I think it's been a while since we had one of the cabaret nights.
All right. Next,
I think we actually figured out my youngest brother was the last cabaret night, and that was back in like 2008 or 2008, I think. So, yeah, I think you're right, it was the first one in a very long time.
all right, next, in regard to the proposed Quashnet School name change.
Yeah, so I have a whole thing of notes, so I'm going to kind of go through that. I talked to them a lot. The kids weren't completely against it, but none of them were like, oh my God, this is the best idea in the world. Again, they're 5th and 6th graders, so like, they're just kind of like, let's go with the flow kind of here. But they did have some really good ideas, which I was excited to hear. The 6th graders, they were talking about how a lot of people call it Quashnet Elementary School, and the name is a little confusing, like between the KCC and the Quashnet. Some people might get it mixed up. But overall, the kind of consensus with the 6th graders is they don't really mind anything. They're okay with either one. They also touched on how they're with the younger kids, and they want all, no matter what like the name is, they want all kids to feel comfortable. Like 3rd through 6th, they said like the 3rd graders need to feel as comfortable as the 6th graders are with this name change. And they also were saying that KCC has changed a lot since they went from kindergarten to 6th grade. I barely remember my KCC days. Those were like over 10 years ago. I can't even do math right now. And they were saying that KCC is easier to recognize. Tennessee Coombs School is a little bit easier to recognize the name than Quashnet School. It's a little more complex, if that makes any sense. And they're also saying that Quashnet, going into it, matures you more. And they were reflecting on how the KCC and Quashnet are sometimes referred to as elementary schools, but they're both like very separate things. They also reflected on how KCC has stairs. That was a point in the meeting. They said, you know what, that's not wrong. And they said recesses were longer, which is not true. I don't know why they thought that. They were also saying that KCC, it feels like they're younger kids, which they are younger kids, but the change from KCC to Quashnet, the 3rd graders were so excited to come up because this school, it's bigger, and so I still get lost walking around here, but the KCC, they feel like younger kids, and then as they come up through Quashnet, they're like, oh, we're so old. They said 6th grade, you feel big. The school doesn't feel as small anymore to you when you're in 6th grade as when you're in 3rd grade. Someone said that the 3rd graders should stay at KCC, which I don't think that's gonna work. But, and I was also looking at the survey, and people were saying like, oh, we should move grades around, which numbers just don't work that way. So, yeah, 3rd graders are so excited to move up, and they were saying something about how the 2nd graders, when they're like, end of 2nd grade, they're like, oh my God, I'm the ruler, I'm amazing, like, yoop-de-doo. And the same with the 6th graders. They're like ready to go off into the world when they leave Quashnet. However, they were saying that there are a lot more opportunities at Quashnet sometimes, and I kind of see it too when they come up to the high school, is they're dealing with sports and all different stuff, and you kind of lose kids in those programs, and I think that might also be why we have such low numbers, is everyone is so distracted by sports, they don't always think about the different clubs that they can be a part of. And there's a lot more, like, they're stuck with doing the individual specials here, which is good for them to learn as it's basic stuff. But yeah, overall, they don't really seem to mind anything. I think they would be happy with either of them. I personally, I feel like either name would be perfectly fine. I mean, it's not really gonna affect me. So I don't know if you two have anything to say about it, but.
I think if the name change helps people to kind of tell the difference, then it's probably good. I think if it's beneficial, then that's really that matters. But yeah, I mean, same boat as Eve, doesn't really affect us as much, so it's hard to tell.
Do you have anything to add, Kira?
We do have one other item is on the list, which is looking for some feedback in regard to the Mashpee Middle High School CTE programming and what you guys think, what you like, what you don't what we don't have that you would like to see?
I think there were a lot of classes cut this year, not necessarily budgeting cuts, but number cutting. I know such classes as AP Music Theory is not happening anymore. That hasn't been happening since I was in 10th grade. And personally, I wanted to take that when I was in high school, but I just never got around to it. I know Kira also deals with this on a daily basis. The music classes are getting taken away. Where Miss Brady interviewed for, wherever she is, oh hi, interviewed for a band teacher recently, and I heard there were 2 really, really good candidates, which makes me really excited. And I know the culinary program is really big, and I find that really good because it's something different, and I think kids can go and just have fun during the day, and it takes their mind off of working. And yeah, they're learning stuff by learning to measure, and it's math, but it's something more fun-based. Not saying that learning isn't fun, but it's a little less stressful on themselves. I know also just the woodworking, all that stuff. We did the what was it called? Engineering the Future in 8th grade, and I love that thing because you would do your work and then you can go and work with the machines and do different stuff. So I know a lot of people who use, my sister when she was in the robotics program would go and spend time in Mrs. Howe's class and work on her different robotics things and help out with kids. So I think we do have a really good CTE program at the high school, but I think learning to balance that with the classes, the academic classes, is becoming a struggle because the academic classes are taking over the CTE classes, and you don't have as many kids in the CTA classes, which is sad because they're all life skills that kids need to learn.
So funny you say that, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, but one of the conference sessions I attended at the National School Board Association talked about that very problem of how do you take your geometry class and make a wood shop class count as a geometry credit, but also be like a CTE class, and make it, like you said, keep the kids engaged, keep kids wanting, because I think you said something about music classes going away, and I guess my question, which I'll ask in a second, but the whole session was about how to kind of, and this is where it's going to get really out there, use AI to combine and develop lesson plans to integrate those two, which to me was fascinating. And the school district just outside of Detroit has completely renovated, reimagined their whole CTE program, but also aligned it with the state standards for geometry, ELA, and science with all of their CTE programs. So it's basically, I don't want to say it's not necessarily like a technical school, but they recognize the fact that students are looking for real-world applications for what you're learning. And these 2 gentlemen who've been in education forever, it seemed, because they were they've been doing it for a couple of years now, and they're about to expand it, and it was fascinating. But what you hit on with the music, I guess my question on the music program, are they being taken away, or are they being discontinued because there's not enough enrollment, I guess is what I would because I worry, and this goes back to, again, so many options, which is fantastic, but there is a flip side to that coin that because there are so many options, kids have trouble picking. I want to do band, but I also want to do Spanish 5. Which one am I going to do? Because you just can't get into both, or you can't make it, arbitrarily picking those 2. But you know what I'm saying are you finding that the case for you?
I think I found, because I've only taken 1 AP class every year of high school, so I don't have that issue as much. I know a senior who does band, is in an independent study with me, because all of her AP classes are during band periods, so she can't make it in. I know there's an applied physics class right now that's working on electric guitars, which I think is so cool. I think that's one of the coolest applied physics you could ever do, because it counts as a science credit, but it's kids doing what they love. And I know there's a ton of guitar players in that, and they're going to be able to use those guitars for their life. And I think it's so cool because they get to learn how to build them and fix them. I think it would be really cool to be able to kind of combine the CTE and the academic classes. I know Miss Brady does not want the music program to go away. She was telling me that one day. And so I don't think we're gonna, like, it's never gonna just completely go away.
And music's just one example. I mean, you look at French and Spanish, where we had Mandarin last year.
Right.
Prime example. We had a teacher, we had a class, we didn't have the students because whatever reason we didn't have the students. So I guess I just wonder with some of these other classes that are not, I guess, not being taken away, but is it more you guys as students are like, there's so many options, I want to try a little bit of everything, which is great, and you should try a little bit of everything. But I guess that's my question more, I guess, is do you feel that?
I think one of the biggest things right now, and I'm seeing it with as Mr. T is leaving, is some of the kids, they're scared about who's going to come in. So they're like, oh, I'm just not doing band next year. And he keeps telling us, you got to keep doing it, you got to keep doing it, you got to keep doing it. Don't let someone else take away your love for music. And he's really pushing us to keep doing band, which I do too. I'm like, I won't be here next year, but I want to come back and see you guys do well. So I think it's really stability and making sure that the teachers have their set schedules, but I think if kids were able to kind of look at their schedules and kind of figure out, I feel like it's hard for kids to really figure out what they want to do since they just see the name of the class and they don't really know what that is, and then they get in the class, they're like, oh, I don't like this, but then it's too late to change. So I think if kids were able to see more what the different elective classes were, they might be more apt to doing that.
Don't we still do the career days where the teachers talk about
That's program studies.
or
Program of studies, it's after school. It's like a night thing.
Yeah, but don't they explain in the programs of studies, like what the classes are, or no?
Do they?
Yeah.
I was not a program studies this
I'm
year.
going to be honest right now. I feel that this conversation is a little weird for me to listen to because you're listening to one student's voice. The kids who are involved in CTE programs, they know what we offer. It's like, you know, there's kids who are highly academic aren't necessarily going to be able to answer questions about the CTE program. You know, I consider Eve to be an academic, and she doesn't necessarily have the knowledge base to answer some of these questions. And in regards to not offering classes, I would prefer that we don't refer to it as eliminating classes. If kids don't sign up, we can't have them. You know, so I'm feeling a little frustrated right now listening to this, and I just have to be honest about that. Because students don't always know why things are or aren't offered. It is very well communicated to the type of students who are going to need CTE programs. You know, it's going to be communicated to them about their course offerings. So I should get
Didn't we go through a process a year or 2 years ago to look at the course offerings to make sure that we had stuff listed that we actually were able to offer? Is that,
The problem is that there are only about 100 students per class, right?
Right.
And it's going to shift every year. Like, there's going to be different interest base every single year, and then kids also want to sign up for classes that their friends are taking. It's such a small number of kids that it's not easy to say, like, we're going to offer this class forever, because the next year, there might be nobody interested in it. So, like, I
Now, is the CTE program, is that only offered for the high school students, or is that for the middle school students as well?
They start exploratory in middle school.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a set number of, set program of classes in 7th and 8th grade. And then as 9th grade goes on, then you can start picking your own classes. But it's entirely like based on, you have 24 credits, based across a bunch of different requirements that you have to complete. And the way I worked it was I started doing as many credits as I could, and then like by the end of this year, or by this year, I only had 3.5 credits to do. So it's based on, you have to finish those credits before you can really take what you want to take, unless you kind of carry a heavier workload in senior year.
Right. Dan, I want to give you an opportunity to jump in if you had any questions or comments. No, at this point? All right. Anyone else? Great conversation. I mean, that's the purpose of having these joint meetings, is to have that type of conversation. I don't know that we're going to resolve all our problems, but I think it just opens the door for further discussion. So, thank you. All right. Next up, report of the superintendent.
Yes, thank you. So just quickly, before we get too much further, we do have some guests with us. Obviously, our superintendent-elect, Michelle Connors, Dr. Michelle Connors is here, but we also have our assistant superintendent-elect, Patricia Hill, and our director of finance, Monica De La Hoy. So both of them are there. They're taking notes, and we're going to try to put on a really good show for the rest of the evening. So just want to say welcome to them and make sure we recognize them. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Gould, who's going to give us a quick update on the professional development day we had on the 4th.
Hold on, I got my notes here.
So got her notes.
I do have my notes.
I found someone that has more tabs open than I do on their browser, by the way.
I look at tabs as like a file cabinet.
It really
That I
is.
just need to open. So the Professional Development Day, a week ago Monday, losing track of my days, was in-house based. Special Education Department with Ms. Brown did their own, as they've been doing. And then individually, they stayed internally in their district, in their buildings. This coming one now I've lost track of that date, it'll be the first couple weeks, really, right after vacation, it seems like. We'll continue on with all the differentiated PD that's been happening at KCC and Quash. Some of the staff will also finish some of the Khalees Warnham PD that they have been working on. Those that haven't had the opportunity to do that will continue to do that. They'll also, paraprofessionals will be working at the KCC, Anxiety and Executive Functioning Part 2, also Quash. And then at the secondary, they do a much more, actually, that's the paras, the same thing on that one, sorry, I missed that building too. And they continue also, they do more departmentalized professional development. But they continue on, they're well-oiled machine at this point in the year. I am going to also start, I did a quick conversation with Dr. Hanscom today, just kind of prepping for Ms. Hill as into next year. So I'm going to begin that conversation. We've already been having some talks about next year and where to go. And so I want to make sure that I loop in Ms. Hill on that, but I'll try to set up the schedule for her so that she can walk right into that.
Now, we signed a contract with Dr. Warnham, correct?
Yes,
When does that, do you know when that contract expires?
I believe it's this year. And because she gave me a call, I talked with her, gosh, probably about a couple months ago now, that she is changing the name of her company to kind of keep more up with what's going on societally and stuff like that. But I think we're still done. She just wanted to let me know that.
I would like to get, if it's possible, a survey from the teachers and the paraprofessionals about how they felt about what she came in to teach them, to help them with, if they found it beneficial. Because I think that helps us in making a decision of bringing contractors in to teach them.
Sure. We can figure out that. I don't know the answer to. I would like to expand on that, Kelly, to maybe talk about everything that we did
Yeah.
this year. How did they feel? What are some
Right,
of
are
the
there
things
things that, are there
yes.
things that they found that, you know, that were very helpful versus not helpful at
Yeah,
all?
I don't know that they haven't already done that. It's just
Yeah,
maybe
I'm not
we already done
100%
that,
sure
But I think that
either.
would help your incoming team.
Yep.
Without a doubt. Okay.
Okay, so moving on page 6, you have the enrollment. You can see that we have dropped 2 students from the end of March to now. We're at 1397. Page 7 is the staff changes. We have hired 1-to-1 paraprofessionals, one at Quash, one at the middle high school. Danielle Bro at the Quash and Daniela Pinto at the high school. We are still looking to fill a paraprofessional at the Coombs School. Other than that, we are fully staffed. And now I'm going to throw it back over to Dr. Gould to talk a little bit about the Coombs principal search.
Yeah, in your last major administrative hire to do, we ran our first round of interviews a week and a half ago. We had 6 really good candidates, and we deliberated for quite a while and came down to, we have moved forward 2 candidates. The team moved forward 2 candidates to Dr. Connors. And so what we're working on now, I think we're in a good shape with the schedule. It's a lot of moving parts, but on Wednesday, April 30th, and Thursday, June 1st, we'll have 2 candidates come in, one on each day, obviously. They'll start the day in the central office, doing kind of a meet and greet with the other principals, lunch or whatever it might be, and then they'll do the formal interview. Dr. Connors will be here. Ms. Hill will also join her, which is fantastic. And then as that'll be their team, which I think is really important. And then we'll do a meet and greet at Coombs each of those days at 3:45 for any of the staff that want to come and meet. And then after that, Dr. Connors will make her decision.
All right, and then on page 8, you can see the report of the athletic director. We are in full swing into the spring season. You can see the number of participants. You can see the upcoming home games for all the varsity sports, softball, baseball, outdoor track, both boys and girls tennis, boys lacrosse, boys lacrosse. On page 9 is our middle school teams. And junior varsity, we've got baseball, tennis is co-ed, girls lacrosse, boys lacrosse, and then for middle school sports, we've got baseball and track. And again, all of those have got the home games listed there. While we're talking about student participation, I just want to give a shout out for the Senior Project Expo that was last Wednesday night. Fantastic event. It really was satisfying to see everybody presenting their projects and the work that they have done that really culminates their academic experience here in Mashpee. And a special shout out to Eve, who was one of the performers on the stage. There were three folks who did presentations to everybody. I'm not quite sure how that selection process went.
It was, I think, just one, every teacher chose person, or it was just kind of a consensus.
All right, consensus, good consensus, nice job. Next, we have the report of the outreach coordinator, and you can see all of the different PR community engagements on page 10. And you can see on page 11, those are the volunteer hours and the sales that we have by month. And then on page 12 is the number of followers for Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So, still got some YouTube work to do. I keep saying that the big jump really happened when the podcast was getting published there, but we can debate that. So, upcoming events on page 14. These are the upcoming events between now and the middle of May. Saturday the 10th is the prom, May 10th. And you can see the other field trips and things that are happening there as well. The 5th through the 9th of May is Teacher Appreciation Week, and just as a reminder, schools will be closed next week for spring vacation.
There's also, the boys' baseball team is leaving.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
They leave
Baseball.
tomorrow, right?
Yeah, they are heading to Florida. And then also in your packet on page 15 for May 6th is the MASC Day on the Hill. That is your invitation there. If you need help registering, please let us know so we can facilitate that. And that concludes the superintendent report.
I think there was one other recognition that we got an email about in regard to the history club. The other,
Oh, yes, yes. Bonnie, you want to talk, do you have that up?
Yes.
Okay.
Celeste also just emailed me, just forwarded the information. So we had 3 students progress to the nationals for National History Day. 3 middle school students, which is super exciting. So that will be June 8th through the 12th. And I know I'm missing one name.
I got them, I think.
What's that?
I think I have them.
Do you have them?
Alice Clark,
Yep.
Cecilia McGee, and is it Denise or Dennis?
Denise.
Denise Fernandez Paredes. Yep.
Yep.
Great.
So they're still figuring out whether they're actually going to go to nationals. Am I correct on that?
Right,
Yeah.
I think that we're gonna have to look into that.
Yeah.
You know, if maybe, you know, yeah. Celeste just sent me an email when I was walking.
And Nationals is in DC.
It's in DC.
Okay.
Yep, in June.
In June.
Yep,
Yeah.
right after school ends.
Yep.
That's amazing.
I know Mrs. Reynolds is super excited, and so are the girls. I got to talk to Cecilia the other day, and she's like, "Oh my God, it's so cool!" So I don't think we've ever had any kid go to nationals. So
That's
it'll
awesome.
be a really good experience.
Definitely not middle school.
Definitely not middle school.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really exciting.
no, it is.
That's
And
awesome.
that's why I wanted to make sure that we
Yep.
recognize them tonight. And
Can I request that they present when they, whether or not they go? I would love to see their, because
Right.
National History Day is a really, for those who don't know, I mean, it's a really cool event.
Yeah.
So for the public, the students pick, they're given like a theme, and then they're able to pick any event in history to make a presentation on. And
Right.
they start with like state, and then it's regional, right? They go
Yeah.
state, regional, then national.
Yeah.
So,
And Dr. Thompson, when he found out, he said the same thing, that maybe in one of the upcoming school committee meetings, we could have them present no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
please.
And I know that they would love that.
That would be
I would
awesome.
love it.
I think it would be great.
Yeah, no, that'll be awesome.
excellent job.
All
Thank
right,
you.
before we move forward, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Yes.
Call for a point of comfort. We need to go to bio break.
All right.
Sorry. I will be right back.
All right. We're going to take just a 2-minute break here, and then we'll be right back and continue on with our regularly scheduled programming.
Sounds like a TV advertisement.
What was the theme for National History Day this year? Do we know?
Nope, no one knows.
I don't know Denise, but Cecilia and Alice are sweethearts.
It was a fun day. I mean, I know my daughter made it to states, so that was a fun day. And one kid from that group made it to regionals.
I believe I made it to States, and then COVID came in and swept everything out.
Building up the anticipation here in regard to the budget.
Ashley, is this your last meeting?
It's my last meeting.
No. When are you leaving?
Next week. Last week.
Hi. Sorry, I just love Ashley.
We were talking about that.
I was gonna say, this is just an image of you here tonight, right? A hologram?
Oh, no, I'm there. I'm here. Yeah.
All right, I guess we can return to normally scheduled programming at this point.
Sorry.
You didn't bring any popcorn back.
No, I got cough drops. Would you like some?
No, I was thinking of popcorn. All right. We will turn it over to our esteemed Director of Finance.
Thank you. In your packet is our normal FY25 budget reports. I have not received any questions before the meeting. Do you have any now?
I have so many questions that I can't control myself, but I will,
Okay.
okay?
I also left 2 handouts at your place. That is for budget transfer and student activities. I want to walk you through them a little bit before I need a vote on both of them. So the first one is the budget transfers. You'll see that it's a large number. It's $774,000. This number is primarily moving salaries from the middle high school line and moving them into the Quashnet and Coombs lines. As we went through the FY25 budget process last year, we had submitted our budget in October, but we had made the decision to reduce class size at the elementaries and reallocate staff. So this budget transfer is reallocating that staff to the necessary lines. The rest of it is very much cleanup that we've had throughout the year. As we know, we've talked about this is a year of change, so spending changed a little bit and the projections changed a little bit than what we thought in October of '24. So that's what's in this budget transfer here. Are there any questions?
I have a question. What is the update on the HVAC?
Which was the Coombs High School.
High school.
High school. So they selected a vendor to do the work. And now we need to wait for Maytown meeting to receive the final approval from the taxpayers on the vote for the capital improvement. So once that is done, they will be able to move into the signed contract. And they'll be able to begin work on the project.
And is that going to end up going into the school year?
Yes.
So teachers will move.
What do we have left budgeted for after the Coombs, after Coombs project was done? What do we have left and what was allocated for the HVAC systems?
In what, we have various pots of money, and I do not have them all with me at this moment, because I did not think we were going down this conversation.
I hate this rabbit hole because it drives me absolutely insane to have to keep going back to the taxpayers and asking them for more money and more money and more money and more money. But I know in the beginning we had asked for 7 something.
Well,
So
I-
when we go back to Maytown meeting, we're asking for that additional funding for just the high school, not Quashnet too. Okay, thank you.
I guess the question is, did the school expend all of the funds that we had set aside for the HVAC program?
We are in process. So we had a pot of money that was the ESSER funding, and we have expended all of that ESSER funding to date, and we also set aside $2.5 million of the school choice funds, and we're in the process of spending that money down. There were also 2 additional allocations. One was from the capital stabilization fund, and that was 2 cycles ago. We're in our 2nd year of that funding. It was a little over $1 million, and then we were part of the bond that was approved by taxpayers. We have not used that pot of money yet. So the capital stabilization fund money and the bond money, in addition to the requested funds at Maytown meeting, will pay for the Mashpee Middle High School project. And there's a little bit of money in that to get the design and engineering done for the Quashnet School. So we will be ready to ask for that final sum of money in the following Maytown meeting. So we're not going in guessing at this point. We will have actual numbers to present to taxpayers, so we will know what the cost is to do those projects.
Do we still have commitment from the town manager to do that request next May?
Yes, throughout the capital meetings this year, we had those conversations. We are going into our 2nd building. We have 3 of them. He has committed at this point and
To finishing the project?
To finish the project.
Okay.
There's nothing HVAC related though on this budget transfer?
No.
All right.
Sorry, I just hadn't heard about it in a couple months, so I wanted to check up on what was going on there.
Well, one last question, and then we'll take up the budget transfer maybe, at least that I have. Any changes in regard to our school choice balance that we need to be aware of, or school choice expectation for this year, remainder of this year? Okay. All right. Any other questions before we go to the budget transfer? Dan, you good? Okay. You want to talk about the budget transfer? Is there anything else you want to say?
No,
Okay.
but I do need a vote.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve budget transfer 2502?
Second. Dan, you can have it.
Okay, so I have a motion by Kathy to approve. I have a second by Dan. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, how do you vote? Kathy?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Transfer approved. Thank you.
My final item tonight is a student activities update for the Mashpee Middle High School. Before I leave, I wanted to clean up the funds. So right now, we have 5 accounts that I'd like to close in the Mashpee Middle High School student activities account. They're inactive, we don't use them anymore. This top memo breaks it down for you, but if you look at the third page, it's really the detail of what's in QuickBooks. We do not have students pay for AP exams anymore. We do not have students pay for parking at Mashpee Middle High School, and we do not have students pay for the yearbook. Those 3 accounts, as you can see, have money in it. I would like to transfer that money and reallocate it to the Falcon Family Fund. This fund helps support kids who cannot afford things such as prom tickets or various things throughout the school year. Field trips, this item here pays for buses, so I think that's a really great place to put the parking money. Robotics is currently in a deficit right now. I'd like to clear up that deficit before I leave. The class of 2022 ended their term here in a small deficit. I'd like to clear that up. Guidance, there was 2 accounts, the guidance account and the Falcon Family Fund. I just want to clean up that deficit and close it, so it's no longer remaining. And HOSA has a small deficit. This has been running for prior to COVID. I just want to clean it up so they can have a clean slate and be able to move forward. So you can see that in adjustment 1 on page 3, it outlines the ins and the outs. So I need a vote for that. And then the second thing I'd like you to have a vote on is moving the athletic student activity accounts out of this and moving to boosters. Majority of our athletic funding is going through boosters and student fundraising, and this money has been historic in here. I think it can go to one place. They have a board. This money will go to those specific accounts, so it's not like we're going to be moving this $3,000 and it's going into a general boosters fund. It will go to the boys tennis group, to track, tennis, girls volleyball, and the golf team.
Okay.
It's very specific when it's being sent over there.
So a question I have in regard to the student parking fees. My recollection was that those fees were charged to students for the privilege, for the upperclassmen, the privilege to park at the high school, and that those funds were used to offset something. And I don't remember what that something was. I don't know if Kathy, if you remember where those went, but they went somewhere, or were supposed to.
They were supposed to, but like you, I'm not remembering because I think it's been a while since they've actually charged, isn't it?
It was before I got my license.
Yeah.
So at
It's been a couple
least
years.
school year 22, 23.
And I would say, I don't recall collecting funds since I've been here.
No, it was,
It's
I
old.
think, back from Paul, like, I think Paul Falk was the last one who was allocating, and I don't remember where they were going.
I know school year, at least, my sister did it and she graduated in 2022.
Yeah.
So they have done it since COVID kind of came to a dead. But after a bit, they were just like, whatever. And we still have to have, like if we are getting in trouble or have a certain amount of tardies or classes are struggling, we're in, we do risk the chance of getting our parking spot taken away.
And the funds to repay the lines, and if we need to do any
My recollection was that it was used to offset some of the repair costs, but since the facilities got moved to the DPW, that's kind of a non sequitur anymore. So, I mean, I guess this is as good as anything. So this cleans up all of the activity funds?
Yes, there will be no accounts, well, there'll be one account in deficit, which is the prom account moving forward after you make this vote, but they're still collecting revenue for this year, so I think it's premature to make any transfers or do anything there. But for June 30th, you can have another transfer done.
All right, I'll make that motion to approve the student activities transfers and reallocate the money to said accounts. We're going to read them all off.
No. As
As
outlined in this memo. Okay, so I have a motion by Kelly. Do I have a second? And a second by Dan. Discussion. One other thought that comes to mind is the involvement that the town treasurer has in these. Are they aware of this proposal?
Yes,
Okay, so we've checked the box on that.
I have.
Thank you.
He was with me when I wrote this memo.
All right, just
That's my dad.
don't want a surprise from town hall.
No surprises.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Dan, how do you vote? Kathy?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
And I vote yes. All right, so we'll make these moves. All right. Anything else that we need to talk about for the Director of Finance? There might be some,
It might be something.
I don't see it in the agenda. Well,
We're not allowed to.
I guess we're gonna have to make them wait till the end, and then we can gush at the end. No, in all seriousness, it's been my pleasure to have worked with Ms. Lopes here for the last few years, and I've been extremely impressed with her professionalism, with her ability to deal with somewhat difficult individuals, particularly myself, and make sure that we keep the school and all of its business activities in good order. And I've been extremely impressed in your ability to do that. You've been a voice of reason, to my chagrin sometimes, and gotten me across the finish line maybe when I didn't want to get there, but I do appreciate that. And then you've always been responsive when I had a multitude of questions in regard to budgets, expenditures, and have been an extremely valuable resource in regard to the numerous budget, or not budget, negotiations that we've had to do over the years, and I firmly and valuably appreciated that effort. It was nice to have someone who actually took the lead versus just said, here's the data, Don, go do it. And so I've been very impressed with that, and I think that the state is extremely lucky to get such a talented individual such as yourself, and I wish you the very best in your future endeavor. Dan, do you have anything you would like to say?
Well, I have plenty to say about Ashley. Neither here nor there. I know Ashley, honestly, coming onto the school committee, having that extra layer of being that state that, from budgetary perspective, we had you kind of steering the ship and giving us the information in a very honest and upfront way to help us navigate, as John said, some complex situations. Just a sheer amount
you came on board and you just took right off, and you've kept us moving ahead, and you're very skilled, and the state is very lucky, again, echoing what John said, they're very lucky to be having you come on board because you know your stuff, and you are a very strong proponent of our students, and I know you're going to continue to do that at the state level now, and I feel a little bit better knowing you're going to be at that level. So we will miss you. You know, your reporting has been always very easy to understand, and you're always available for questions, which was greatly appreciated. So best of luck. We're going to miss you. I don't know. I'm like getting all emotional now. So bittersweet, but it'll be awesome. Thank you.
I was told I couldn't get mushy, so I won't. Thank you, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, for being the captain of the ship and driving us in the right direction. Like everybody else in positions like yours, they're very hard shoes to fill. You make us feel comfortable to know that we're making the right decisions, and when we're not, you have no problem telling us that. Nope, that don't work. You have always been there to answer questions, both professionally and personally. I am truly going to miss you. They are getting a rock star, and I hope they know that, but always know that Mashpee is home, and good luck. Have fun.
Dr. Thompson, did you have anything you wanted to say?
No, nothing at all. Nope, not a word. Yeah, no.
Man, a few words.
Yeah, so it's been less than a year, but it has been a privilege. You are on point, on your stuff, no frills, but that's what we want out of a business person, right? And I wish you all the luck in the world, and I know our paths will cross again.
All right?
Can I
And
say my piece?
Oh,
Go ahead, Miss Megan. Your
Matt?
turn.
Eve?
Oh, it's been a journey. Not a bad one. It's been a good one. You have been able to make me laugh in the longest of nights with the superintendent search when I want to go home, and you said, go home. When I found out that you were leaving, my mom said to my dad, she goes, did you know Ashley was leaving? He goes, yeah. It's just like, you didn't tell me? And so that consisted of like 5 minutes of us yelling at him that he didn't tell us when you were leaving. I know you will be missed by so many people, including my entire family. You have, as I said, always been super precise. You tell them all the information about different budget things, and I listen to it and go, I don't know what she's talking about right now. But I know as a coach, you've also changed a lot of kids' lives. I hear a lot of positive things coming from the field hockey kids, even if I should call you a robot. But I know that you have a very positive experience on these kids, and I hope that you do really well working with them at a state level.
So with no further ado, we have a couple parting gifts for the contestants.
Thank you. Thank you. I had to find blue ones. Okay, and then we're going to post the. You guys don't want to stand?
So if we can just get a,
Look, I'm getting a hug.
Yeah, we'll superimpose you into it.
You don't want your big head in this one, do you, dear? Yeah, that wasn't bad. You are 100% correct.
and rumor has it that Ms. Lopes will be involved in something about student lunches in the future, so know where to route your complaints, okay? Or comments, constructive comments, please. Okay?
The kids love student lunches right now, so.
All right. Next item, subcommittee and liaison working groups, negotiation subcommittee. We will talk a little bit more about the results of the negotiation subcommittee a little bit later in the agenda. And superintendent evaluation subcommittee.
Do you want to talk, Dan, or do you want me to respond here? What do you want to do?
You mind starting right now?
Sounds good. So, we met with Dr. Thompson on April 2nd, and Dr. Thompson, feel free to jump in at any point as well. But you all have, I believe Dr. Thompson put together these folders for us all.
Just in case.
Yeah, appreciate that. So just for the viewing public who might not have heard that, we met with Dr. Thompson, Danny, and I on April 2nd, and we have these folders here to review. We kind of talked about just what evidence to kind of include in terms of goal achievement and, you know, what we would be looking at as we complete this process, because we are coming up on the actual heavy lift here, which is doing the actual evaluation. So we have the timeline in here, and after this meeting, like I said, we went over kind of, I think the packet on the right is what was the evaluation. And Dr. Thompson, I believe, was updating left side with his evidence, correct, or is that being sent to us?
It was sent.
It was sent, it was sent.
Yeah, you should have a link to the information that's on a Google Drive.
Right. So, I guess after tonight's meeting, I mean, we had a really great meeting, I felt like. We kind of looked at everything that has been done for the year, and hopefully it was good feedback. And I don't know, Dan, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I think that the only other thing I had was the fact that, again, the ask of this year, as a reminder, was, you know, the guidance and the direction of how to support in a transitional phase for whomever was going to be coming in as interim to a full-time, with the, you know, make sure to really focus on that and to figure out how we can move forward with highlighting, you know, some of the work that Dr. Thompson has done while we've been here with us, while also recognizing that this will help support, you know, our incoming administration with what next steps could really support and bolster our work here. So just a lot of gratitude, and I echo everything Kathy has said about the meeting and getting us ready for that email.
All right.
So basically, just, you know, again, the timeline, just to remind all 5 of us, after tonight, we should begin our form filling out, which Dawn, as our fearless leader, will collect and
So,
file.
yeah, so normally, Sherry will send out a link to everyone,
I think that's what I was,
and I'm not sure when is she
She's
back?
back the 21st.
She's back the 21st. I don't know, Dr. Thompson, if you have access to be able to send these links?
I think that she has already scheduled them to go out.
Okay.
I
So
don't necessarily have.
look for
Yeah, I
an
got
email
something from
then.
her today.
They should have these links so that you don't have to try to type all of that in. But to Kathy's point, it is extremely important to complete these by or before the due date, okay? And as you go through the evidence that Dr. Thompson has provided, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to go back to him. I know he will be gone next week, so I would encourage you to take a look at that evidence this week and try to get to him tomorrow or Friday at the very latest. 7 a.m., not 6 a.m.? So it's so late. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Any other questions in regard to what you need to be doing? Hearing none. All right, let's move into assigned and unassigned business, the school calendar for FY26, page 20 of your packet. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at that?
The only thing I want to do, August 2nd, it says 2:05.
I'm not going to be there for that.
Can we change that to 2025?
No.
No, I think we need to have some confusion. added into the.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to make it 2026. All right.
Eve won't be there either, though.
No.
So she's looking out for her
It's the
successors.
date that's annoying me.
Yes, because Student Advisory Council, we're going to hope you'll be able to join us for the beginning
For the retreat.
of the retreat.
Yeah.
We kind of set goals and stuff. So please, if you can try to mark your calendars also.
Have you guys set a time for that yet? As far as what time the retreat will be on on the 2nd
After evening, I thought, right? Or afternoon? Or we said morning?
in the morning?
What day is that?
Oh, it's a Saturday.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
We talked.
Not too
evening,
early.
Then moved to Saturday.
Not too early. Normally I get up at 4:30, so 6 ain't too bad,
Sun will be up by then.
right? As long as the sun's shining, that's all I'm really wanting.
All right. Any,
And I think this schedule that Sherry had put together was after Brian had
provided his.
provided his, right?
I
Okay.
believe so.
As far as I understood.
Okay, me too. Do we have to approve this? Yes.
Yeah, you need a motion to approve.
I will make a motion, Mr. Chair, to approve the FY26 school committee meeting schedule as presented to us,
With the edit,
with the edit of adding 2025 to August 2nd.
okay? I have a motion by Kathy, second by Kelly. Did we lose Dan?
Oh, sorry.
No, David just clicked off of him.
Oh, okay.
He's still there. He's just
Hiding.
behind the other thing.
All right. So I have a motion by Kelly, second by Kathy. Any further discussion? Dan, how do you vote? Dan, how do you vote?
Right, I vote yes.
Okay. Kathy?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. All right, unanimous. That's approved. All right.
Can we just do this one?
Yeah, I kind of covered that one.
Okay, so that one's covered. We can move on from that one.
Yep. Next is the Special Education Stabilization Fund.
We don't have anything on that one.
I thought we were going to have a handout for that. There's a link? Oh.
Hang on.
Do you want to bring it up?
Hang on, I'll bring it up again.
All right. So, all right. Special Education Stabilization Fund. Dr. Thompson, you have experience with this.
Yes.
So do you want to give a little bit of the background of why this might be something that the Mashpee School Committee would want to
Yeah, so
look
this
into?
this is just, a really good practice. What this is this is a stabilization or reserve fund that you create, put money into, that could be used for unanticipated special education costs. So you can do several things. You can have it as part of your budget process. You can, at the end of the year, if there's money left over, vote to put it into the stabilization fund. You need to have it set up at town meeting, just like you do any other sort of stabilization fund, quote unquote, the rainy day funds. The difference with this one, so the school committee can vote to put money into it, okay? It takes a vote of the school committee, positive vote of the school committee and the select board to take money out of it. First encountered this probably about 5 years ago. We had students who moved into the district I was working in that had residential out-of-district placements. For those of you who do not know, those can end up being between $250,000 a year to $275,000 a year, because these folks are fully living, at the school. So we had 4 of them move in. They moved in fortunately after April 1st. We didn't have to come up with $1 million in that first year, but in anticipation of that, we did put money aside into a stabilization fund to be able to do that. And you are limited to how much you can put in there based on your total budget. I can't remember what percentage it is.
2%. 2%.
2%. So, but it does, if there is something, it's after April 1st, so we would be held harmless. But if someone moved in or was registered that they were going to be coming to Mashpee back in February, you would own that special education cost, and it could be, a large swing. So it gives you kind of a safety net.
And didn't we encounter something this year?
We did.
And this is what brought this whole conversation to us,
We
yeah.
ended up,
Yeah.
we ended up looking at school choice as opposed to,
Right, okay.
and that was pretty small, so it's not, yeah.
So 2 questions. Once established, which I understand town meeting vote to establish, does it require, it doesn't require a town meeting vote, like it's our discretion when we put money in?
Correct.
So we could wait till the end of the year, see what,
Yes.
and we put in?
You have to get town meeting approval
Yes,
to
to-
make the fund.
Yes. But we can, at the end of the year, review budget
Instead,
and.
yeah,
and-
so instead of turning it back over to the
Right.
town.
Exactly, that's exactly,
Right.
so instead of turning it back
Yes.
over, we could, as long as it's within that 2%.
Right,
Right, I mean,
Okay.
you would realistically be looking to try to get this on fall town meeting, close for spring town meeting.
Right.
And then perhaps at the end of next year, you would have some money to put in.
Second question, have you ever encountered instances where select board voted no and school committee voted yes? And if so, then what happens?
I have not, then the money doesn't come out.
But what happens to the student, so then the student doesn't come or they don't get services, I
You
guess?
gotta find some other way to pay for it.
Okay.
Yep.
It is a smart, my previous district had done this a few years ago too. It is a smart thing to do.
Oh, no, I was just
Yeah.
curious if you'd
I
encountered
don't
it or seen it.
imagine they would
I
say
can't
no.
imagine, but I just,
Yeah.
I'd
you never
like
know,
to.
I was questioning that in my head too.
Yeah,
Well-
so, and that's where that conversation of, this is not a nice-to-have thing, you have to provide these services.
And it's nice, it helps mitigate down the road to the town.
Right.
It's no different
Yeah.
than a town stabilization. They
Exactly.
do
Right.
that for a reason.
Yep.
Right.
But it's accounted for and required to only be used on this, which is
Yes,
also
yeah,
helpful.
well, and that's what will be written in the article.
Yeah.
Since last year, we requested for the foster care transportation fund to be set up, and we went to the select board meeting, and we had those conversations of what it's for, how the money goes in, how it's not every year.
Mhm.
And then you work with the town to determine how you want to fund it. There's different ways to fund the town.
Yeah.
It doesn't just have to be at the end of the year.
Yeah. You could budget it, the town could theoretically budget. and
We
money
could put
to-
another article that asks to raise the short-term rental tax and take a percentage of that.
Yeah.
But,
Just thinking.
yeah, but it is, it is fiscally responsible and smart to have.
To have this,
something
yeah.
like this. Your other choice is to go to fall town meeting or whatever and ask for a large chunk of change from the town. This negates.
Randomly.
Right.
Randomly.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, I would think that the select board and the taxpayers would rather see us
Do this.
do something like this versus come back and hit them unexpectedly with
Yeah.
all of the other quote-unquote unexpected expenses that seem to be cropping up all the time. So what I would suggest is, and what I would look for is a motion that the school committee develop a article that can be submitted to the select board prior to the end of June, because I believe the due date is early July, just to make sure that we don't miss it, requesting the establishment of this fund at the October 2025 town meeting.
So moved.
Second.
For Dan's behind the screen.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Dan.
Sorry, Dan. There you are.
So, so I have a motion by Kelly to set up an article for this stabilization fund to go to the select board. I have a second by Kathy. This would be going to the select board by the end of June. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, how do you vote? Yes? Okay. Kathy?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
And I vote yes, too. Excellent. All right. Next on our agenda is review of job descriptions in your packet, pages 22 through 26. Dr.
Question,
Thompson?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
When we vote for these, can we do them all together, or do we need to do them individually?
I believe you could do them all together if there are no
Okay.
changes.
Although,
Okay.
Kelly, would you need, you wouldn't need to recuse yourself from the paraprofessional one, though, would you?
I think it's just a job description.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
I don't think there's nothing on there about
I
money.
don't think so either, so let's,
There isn't.
again,
And again, these are
No, I hear you.
cleaning, and getting consistency in formatting.
Right. And we had asked for that, so thank you guys very much.
That's Susan.
Susan Pengill did it?
No.
Oh.
Susan Jekyll.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Susan Jekyll.
And these.
They've all been approved by the union, it looks like.
Yep, they've been reviewed by the union.
The only one that hasn't is the director of finance, because that's not a union
Yep.
position. But this is what we used.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the job descriptions as presented for the school psychologist, adjustment counselor, classroom teacher, Casey Coombs, school principal, paraprofessional, speech and language pathologist, and director of finance?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dan. Do I have a
I'll second.
second? Second by Kelly. Any further discussion? That's what I wanted. Okay. Hearing no further discussion, Dan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Kathy?
yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
And I vote yes. All approved. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much for all your hard work.
All right.
Oh, I know.
Just a FYI, town meeting is May 5th at 7 PM at the high school. Town elections are the following Saturday, May 10th. And I believe early voting starts next week.
Yeah, we just got an email about that.
All right. With that, I will turn it over to Kathy in regard to the National School Board Association share out.
It was another great conference. I find a lot of value in these, just getting to hear what's going on in other districts, in our region, and across the country. Little things, some things have changed with NSBA. I don't know if everybody's aware, but there has been a bit of a split. So now there is the NSBA, which Massachusetts is a part of, but there's also the Coalition of School Board Associations, which some states associations have kind of split off and joined that. So while there was a bit of a decrease in attendance this year, there were still 49 of 50 states represented at the conference, which is pretty awesome if you ask me. I had the opportunity to go to a couple of really great sessions. There were 2 sessions on rural education, which I found to be interesting because, like, with the Massachusetts Homes Act, or right, is that what it is, the Affordable Home Act, whatever was just passed about housing. There's like a seasonal community designation, which kind of also gives a rural designation, but then there's, in education, there's like the different designations for rural schools as well, and some of it's based on how far away you are from like the biggest city and like accessibility to different things. And while we in Mashpee have some attributes that would make us rural, we're not totally rural. So it was interesting to be in those sessions and hear what truly rural schools, like I laughed, the breakfast on Saturday morning was presented by a superintendent from, I don't remember where, Wisconsin. They had 950 students in one building, K to 12, and he had pictures of like seniors walking kindergartners down the hall because the kids are all just together. And it kind of reminded me of back in the day when this was K to 8 in this building here. Not quite K to 12, but close. So it was interesting talking to other districts about like challenges, which we're facing the same challenges: declining enrollment, transportation, and just the same things, just different places. Kind of looking here through. I attended something on Portrait of a Graduate because we had been talking earlier this year about how to add metrics to our Portrait of a Graduate. The session wasn't exactly what I anticipated it being. It was kind of helping districts that didn't quite have a Portrait of a Graduate yet develop it. But what was interesting about it was, as it went on, the presenter had various examples of a Portrait of a Graduate and welcomed people to share theirs. So I sent it off to her, and she was like, "This is fantastic," and like she wanted me to share more information on it. So I've been talking with that presenter, who I believe was NSA, I think, presented that one. Great general sessions, very inspirational. With first one was Melissa Stockwell, who was the first woman to lose a limb in the Iraq War, who became a para-Olympian. And then the second day was Ravi, I can't say his last name, so I'm not even going to try, but he is related to the first prime minister. He's related to the Gandhi family, and his great uncle was the first prime minister of India. He's doing amazing things, connecting students across the globe with his nonprofit, so that students can kind of bridge that gap of, we may be different, but we're similar kind of aspect, which was really inspirational as well. And then the third day was the Bacon brothers, whose mother was, I guess, very involved in education, but they had a strong advocacy for the arts and making sure that the arts are alive and well in our public schools. I also attended a couple of interesting sessions. One was on transitioning between outgoing and incoming superintendents, because I thought that could be helpful to brush up on what other people have done and experienced. This being my first time, well, kind of second in a sense. It's been a bit of a process, but I figured it couldn't hurt to talk to others who've done it. And that was very helpful in getting some tips. I already talked about the AI one, and again, not trying to step on toes, but I was fascinated by how that district was using AI to really combine standards to create curriculum that allowed students who might not be necessarily high academic students, but still allow them to achieve without like saying, here's a geometry book, learn geometry. Instead, we're going to take 2 weeks and build a shed, but incorporate all of the geometry. That would, what they were doing was just, it fascinated me. And then, let's see, there was another one that I attended. Went to one about women in educational leadership, which was interesting. I kind of took some of what's gone on the last year or so as well, and took some time for some personal development and attended a session on building bridges with the community and how to improve my listening skills in terms of talking to our constituents and voters and parents, and how to improve myself, because, you know, we sit here and we get our information that we can't always share with the public, but how can I still be an active listener and improve on some things that I can acknowledge I might need to improve on? So I took that time because there were some great sessions on that as well. And then just networking with the MASC group. Devin Sheehan, who is on the Holyoke School Committee and was past president of MASC, is now the president of NSBA, and we all got to go up on stage when he was officially named that and had a moment with some pictures, which was kind of neat. Got to go to the Muppet. They did a reception for him at the Puppetry Museum, which had an amazing Jim Henson collection. So I got to be a little kid and get my picture next to Big Bird.
That's
and Bird
awesome.
Ernie, and
That's
I have some really great
awesome.
pictures if anyone wants to see them. But I can't stress enough how amazing it is to be able to network with other school committee members and school board members, and just hear, like, we were talking to someone in New Jersey who was just telling us all about different things that are going on with, he was the state president of the New Jersey Association, which is one of 4 states that isn't a member of NSBA or COSBA, so he had an interesting perspective on, like, what is coming in education and how school board and school committee members can work on things. And yeah, it's just, I always come back really jazzed about it, and lots of great, and I have handouts if anybody wants anything. I was gonna, you know, see what I could do and maybe pass some of them on to some of principals and staff and anybody who wants to see, but it was very great experience. And next year we'll be in San Antonio. They're pushing it back a week because I think Easter's early next year, so I think it's April 10th and the 11th, I think, in San Antonio, which will be fun because Riverwalk and all that fun stuff. So that's, but again, highly recommend if any of you can ever attend. I cannot say how positive it is. It's great learning. There's great opportunities for just expanding what your knowledge on the school committee is, because it is a unique position. There is a lot you can draw from your colleagues, whether they're in our state or out of our state, and that's exactly what I did. So, very hot.
Thank you.
Though, Georgia. Very hot. And then the last day, my flight got delayed very late, so there were tornadoes and all sorts of fun stuff. It was a great day on Sunday.
All right. There's something that I was going to say. It just slipped my mind. All right. Next item of business. Yeah, go ahead and close yours, because I don't think you're coming to our executive session.
What do I even say?
You're adjourning your meeting.
Oh, I adjourned the Student Advisory Committee meeting portion of this meeting for April 16th, 2025. Do you want to make a motion? Okay. Tess? Yes. Kira? And I vote yes. Good job.
Excellent. All right, thank you. All right. Do I have a motion from the school committee to go into executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Paragraph 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining for Unit C, and also to discuss personal service contract. The committee will reconvene in public session after the executive session.
So moved.
I have a motion by Kelly. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second by Kathy. Any further discussion? Dan, how do you vote? Kathy?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
And I vote yes. All right, we'll go into executive session.